Good evening. This is Newsnight for the week of May 24th, 2020. To start off this, let me make you aware of my views. This way you can understand the context of my opinions when they show. I'm a left-leaning Democrat who has always gone back and forth on political views. At a different point in my life I was much more liberal, then became conservative, and now I have landed somewhere in the middle at around center left, I suppose you would say. Based upon that constant swaying of opinion, it is fair to assume I will not always be taking the side you expect, and if I say something incorrect I will make every effort to retract it and correct it immediately. This is because many people in the political world, who are often infamous, are typically known for the unbearable quality of never being able to admit they were wrong. Such infamous people in modern times to me often include Hillary Clinton, insert the name of almost any anchor on Fox News, and perhaps the most infamous of all, the President of the United States Donald Trump.
You are fake news.
On that sobering note, let's dive into some of the relevant news that slipped under the radar from the past couple of weeks. In the presidential race of 2020, one cannot help but understand the absolute shit show that has been the Democratic race to put up a candidate for the election. A grand total of 31 Democrats ran for the nomination to go to war against Donald Trump in a bid for the presidency. In that time we have seen candidates who rose to fame only to fall short, or in the case of people like John Delaney or Kamala Harris, to fall flat on their faces.
I'm about to end this man's whole career.
Many Democrats, even myself admittedly, cannot help but recognize an unfortunate pattern as the primary election was leading up to Super Tuesday, as many of the leftover moderate candidates withdrew, this including Pete Buttigieg, Amy Klobuchar, Michael Bloomberg formerly known as the Walking Non-Disclosure Agreement, etc. Each of these candidates barely a day after withdrawing threw in all of their support for former Vice President Joe Biden, who after a series of allegations and accusations, has had his public perception as the cool uncle of the country somewhat dismantled. This left the Democratic Socialist candidate Bernie Sanders on his own against the former vice president, not long after Senator Sanders withdrew as the impending disaster of the coronavirus came into full effect. With Sanders now out of the race, the mantle of Democratic nominee is now all but confirmed to belong to Joe Biden, which raises many questions about his capability to go against the incumbent Donald Trump. One issue I have particularly noticed coming up again and again without fail is the question of if far-left progressive voters who supported candidates like Senators Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders will vote for the moderate former vice president. To be more to the point, it comes to the question of should you vote for Joe Biden, because he is now by proxy the only candidate left who is going to be against Trump? To be honest, I don't think you should. This does not dismiss the fact that not voting for Biden will increase Trump's chances of winning. However, any Democrat, moderate or progressive, is not obligated to vote for the only candidate left with a D next to their name. Nor should anyone be shamed for it. The message being sent by many is that if Trump wins, then America will face another 4 years of hell it cannot endure. To that I say one singular word: bullshit.
My wicked tongue.
Donald Trump has caused many issues, but he is not, nor should he be viewed as an individual with the power to ruin a country. Whether you like or dislike the president, he is not invincible, nor is he the definition of America. For the moment he is at most the face of it, and whether he is the president till January or till 2024, America will still survive, as the country's fate is not held only by a single individual. In news related to the COVID-19 virus, the United States has reached over 1.5 million cases and a total of over 95,000 deaths as a result of the virus. In conjunction with this news, the United States has been in a race against time to find possible solutions to combat the virus and find an effective means of slowing it down, or, ideally, stopping it altogether. In that time, one particular drug that has come up over the course of the last month has been hydroxychloroquine. A word particularly difficult for everyone to seem to fucking say without pausing. On that note, President Trump has become so confident in the drug and endlessly praising it, he himself has begun taking it. Now I'm by no means a medical expert, however a range of medical professionals have spoken out against the president's sudden taking of the drug, and whilst it is likely in conjunction with doctors the president is in contact with, the risks should still be mentioned. There are 3 issues in particular that have come to fruition over the last month. First and foremost being that the drug, like many other drugs and medicines being put to the test, has not had a long trial period to fully understand its effectiveness against the virus. As such, it is becoming abundantly clear that the president does not fully comprehend this and is simply telling people to just take the drug, ultimately pulling the biggest metaphorical YOLO the country has ever seen. This in direct correlation with our second point, that being that hydroxychloroquine is a drug typically used for patients combating lupus and other autoimmune diseases. Due to the president publicly pushing for so many people to take it, there is now an alarming shortage of the drug for people who have these autoimmune diseases. This is an issue that has not even once been mentioned by the very man who endlessly tells people to just take the drug. The final and third point is the preliminary risks showing up for the drug, the most prominent being through preliminary studies conducted by the FDA, checking fatality ratings among groups of patients with COVID-19 taking low and high doses of the drug. Higher doses of the drug yielded more deaths, and a particular issue was found with patients who had heart diseases, and that their doses needed to be monitored closely. From these issues I will simply conclude that the all-in and fuck it mentality of the president has been at best grossly incompetent. And I will simply leave it at that. In other news, the Senate reauthorizes surveillance under the Patriot Act and fails to pass an amendment to the bill that would have required a warrant for looking at a user's internet history, so my FBI agent, Phil, can still keep an eye on me.
Voy a la playa, ya subió la marea.
The Earth's magnetic field is showing signs of weakening after satellites begin malfunctioning, and the United States and Iran continue to cocktease one another in a game of who wants to start a war, a game that has been played since the beginning of the year. Thank you for listening to this segment of Newsnight. I apologize if it seems a bit all over the place, but this is my first time doing this. But before you click off the video, I have something I'd like to say, if you will listen. To end this segment of Newsnight, I would like to finish by saying that amid all of the drama of the virus, a morbid sense of doom has been held over the world for the last few months, and unfortunately improvement has been slow at best. But I'd say to anyone who is either dealing with the virus or the isolation that comes with it, to please stay strong and keep on fighting through, as we are all in this together, and as the saying goes,
stand together, die together.
Fuck, wrong footage.